Hi Libra. This is your February 2019 reading. It is late, so we are going to focus heavy on week 3 and week 4 when we get to the second part of our reading today. The first, it's going to be a similar template like we did last time, or a format where we have a general of what is going on, organizing the should drawer, and then after that it's going to be a week by week breakdown, and we'll finish off with some oracle cards from the Romance Angels Oracle deck. So I hope you have had a wonderful February so far, and that January was fantastic for you. So let's get started here. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know how your journey is going. I'd love to follow along and see if this resonates with you guys. Let's see here. Okay. Okay. So we have the Knight of Coins of where we are right now. We have the Hanged Man in the near future. You may be dealing with an Aquarius. 10 of Coins. I love it. 7 of Swords in our head space. And then 9 of Wands in our emotional space. So in the recent past, we completed and started a new cycle. 10 I know is completion, but something starts when something ends, right? So we're doing really well financially in our business adventures, in any kind of ventures that we may have going on. So I'm really excited that you guys are having such a strong start to this reading. So we have Knight of Coins, which is where we are right now. It is the slowest moving knight, but it's also it's like very careful, methodical energy, moving forward nonetheless, and there is success. So you're in a really great spot. In the near future, we have the Hanged Man. So all of this work may take some time for you to see fruition, or perhaps you're seeing it already, and maybe it's not at the pace that you were expecting. But there is an energy of just, take a second and slow down. The reason I said perhaps you're dealing with an Aquarius is because Aquarius got this card for the 4th week of February. And I described it as stop and smell all the roses, the coffee, whichever one is the best for you. So that's what we're looking at in the near future. We'll get clarifiers for this. In our headspace, we've got the 7 of Swords. So you may be feeling like you may have had all of these things that you wanted to accomplish, all of these things that you wanted to have, and then you can't have them. I kind of feel I'm very hesitant. So it's almost like there's a hesitation for you to not want to take all of these things that you wanted, right? It's almost just like, well, why can't I have it? This is what the 7 of Swords looks like, right? So his hands are on the blades, okay? There's 2 that are not in there, so he may just not have the room. There is a possibility that you just don't have the bandwidth at this time. Doesn't mean you won't have it later, but just like right now, maybe you just need to take with what you can so that you can continue moving forward and reaping the benefit of all of your hard work, right? And I want to talk a little bit more about this hesitation. It's almost like I don't want to accept that this is what is going to happen. It also feels very definitive. And that's probably where you are mentally, where it's just like, well, I don't really want to completely give up on this other thing that I was working on. So, I may just brush it to the side. The biggest thing that I want to go on here is that the 7 of Swords combined with the 9 of Wands, which is where we are in our emotional space. It's like, perhaps I feel like you need this to prove a point. Because there is that kind of defensiveness of the thing that you're building, the thing that you're working on. In these 2 cards, 9 of Coins and then the 9 of Wands, I'll show you there's pyramids, and that to me tells me it's like the building of an empire, perhaps, right? Like you're building your own legacy. And so it's kind of like you're defending it, and there's all these things that you want to have, and then some people are probably telling you like, oh, slow your roll. You probably don't want to do all of that just yet, but you know, because of X, Y, and Z, right? And you're just like, get out of here, you know, like, you know your journey better than anybody else's. Like, you know what you're capable of better than anybody else. You know where your bandwidth is at its peak, right? So, you know, that's kind of like the vibe of where we are right now. But let's get it clarified for the Hanged Man. I have the Four of Wands, and then I have the Five of Coins. So it's almost like you take a break from the financial part, and then you focus on family, you focus on a celebration, travel perhaps, spending time with your friends, loved ones. Maybe there's a wedding, a destination wedding, maybe. Um, and maybe you spend a little bit too much because you've got Five of Coins that follows thereafter, shortly thereafter. But it makes sense that these two are the clarifiers to the Hanged Man, because if, you know, we are going to go off of the same description of Stop and Smell the Roses, perhaps, like, you know, we get a little carried away. It's okay, it happens to the best of us. I have fire placements and dangerous placements, so sometimes I am also keen to overspend. So, you know, it's totally normal. Just be careful that you're not just having too good of a good time and you're buying shots for everybody. So that's kind of the main thing that I'm getting here. I'm going to draw a clarifier for the Seven of Swords because the hesitation was enough that I was probably quiet for like a whole 30 seconds. We've got the Two of Wands. And it's curious that there's the Two of Wands because there's also two swords if this guy's hand is not holding on to this muscular hand. It doesn't have to be a guy. You see that? So for me, it's just like you're really focused on those two things. Or you're focused on the things that you may not be, you know, checked off by the end of February, right? Or by the end of whatever your deadline is. Like maybe you might have to miss it, or you might have to prolong it, or you'll have to ask for an extension, something like that. But I don't necessarily feel like it's an end all be all. It's just not yet. I have a sales background, and so you know, I train other people now, and I let them know. It's like, well, you know, don't take no's personally. No means not yet. So if that person's not going to buy, the next one might, right? So, you know, kind of the same thing with you. Obviously, like, I'm not specifically training for a sales call or meeting a quota, but the things that you're trying to accomplish don't necessarily have to happen right when you need them to or right when you wanted them to. It just is maybe going to take a little bit longer to get there, but you'll get there nonetheless, and that's what matters the most. There may be something you need to go back on, something that maybe you overlooked a few details and you have to go back and you're just like, oh shit, like completely forgot about this. So, you know, that may be a reason for it. There may also be travel coming up, Two of Wands within the Four of Wands, some fire energy that we have here. And then I'm getting Virgo for some reason, so there may be a Virgo that we're interested in talking to, dealing with, maybe a mentor or something like that. So this is the organizing the shifter section of our reading. This is kind of what I'm getting here. My eyes keep going over to the Seven of Swords and the Two of Wands. And, you know, again, maybe just not yet. It doesn't mean it's the finale. You can't have it ever. You know, maybe just the timing isn't right. Okay? It could also be like in a relationship, right, where it's like maybe it doesn't work out all the way, or there's certain things that you can't necessarily have yet. Like maybe you just started dating and you're super into them and you want to start talking marriage, but you know they're not trying to make those decisions. You know, something like that, right? Like it could honestly apply to anything. Let's go into our week by week. The first 2 weeks have obviously passed, and we'll spend more time on the last 2 weeks, weeks 3 and 4, to see, you know, what to expect since I am uploading these very late. Okay, this is also the Fountain Tarot, if you are interested. And then don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know what's up. Okay, we have the Knight of Wands as our first card. We have Two of Coins emotion, or sorry, Knight of Wands is where we are in our headspace. Two of Coins is where we are in our emotional space. King of Wands week 1, 10 of Cups week 2. Queen of Swords week 3, the Hermit week 4. Okay, so the Virgo that I mentioned in the general reading that we just did, the organizing the shit drawer reading, they might be coming up towards the end of the month. Is definitely a person that I'm getting here, and they're not necessarily like a priority for you, but they make themselves a priority for you last week, or something happens where it's a priority. If you are not dealing with a Virgo, the last week of the month, you are shutting doors, turning your phone off, not answering to DMs, nothing. You are spending time on yourself. You are introspective during this time. You're just like going deep into the darkness. We are entering Pisces season, so this may get you into that place of being more emotional, more mutable, and just being very in tune, right? Because we're just in Aquarius season, which is very fixed energy. So overall, week 1, King of Wands, and then the 10 of Cups. It sounds like February was off to a fantastic start, right? Amazing. We're followed by the Queen of Swords. So we go from King of Wands to Queen of Swords. This kind of tells me like we're just like going super fast, and then now we're just like delegating. We're letting people know what's good. I'm getting deadlines. We're just like cutting through. We're letting people know exactly what it is that you want, how you want it, when you want it, and then vice versa. Like that's what you're also receiving. You're very logical. You're definitely operating from a place of like, let's just go. And I'm getting a lot of speed here, which is amazing. So week 2, we have the 10 of Cups, which is really nice. I don't really know what they're doing here. It looks nice. It looks like some kind of like, I don't know, flip. Some kind of gymnastics or something like that. But it looks like a party. Okay, like, I don't know, probably something you see at Cirque du Soleil or something like that. So I'm seeing this, and then we go a little bit darker, and then we go a little bit darker, and I'll kind of show you the sequence. So we've got King of Wands, 10 of Cups. Although it's a good card. These two are good cards, but the color does get darker. And then we have the Hermit. So I'm getting this feeling of like the lesson's coming, you can't ignore it, and then boom, lesson. Like little residual pieces of this individual or this theme that you can't get away from, and then you totally feel it too because you're balancing. Balance is a huge thing that you're trying to see here. I have news for you. You can have your cake and eat it too. It's probably, like for me, one of the most annoying things to ever hear is like, oh, you can't have your cake and eat it too. And it's like, actually, what's the point of having cake if you can't eat it? Obviously. So, it's like if you're thinking that maybe you can have a successful career and a romantic partnership, you can. You can have whatever it is that you want. Obviously, as long as it's for like the greater good, right? You can't hurt people. Okay, so we're clarifying, and I have the 2 of Swords with the 2 of Coins. So again, probably exactly what I was just saying. You can have your cake and eat it too. Get that tattooed on your right thigh. Okay, like you don't have to have, and you know this, okay? So it's like anything that comes up in tarot, you already know. It's a tool to organize the existing energies, and for me, I'm probably not going to tell you, oh, well, there's this jealous woman or whatever that's causing all these like curses. I'm definitely not going to say that. I'm not going to say a snake wall. But, it's just like a lot of this you already know as truth, right? So, and the reason that I preface that is because the 2 of Swords, this woman is on her own and she's blindfolded with 2 swords. She can use the swords to cut the blindfold. You don't need to put yourself in compromising situations that don't exist, right? So emotionally, just know that you're okay if you want all of it, okay? Obviously in moderation, right? Because we don't want to get greedy, but just know that you don't need to sacrifice a career or a degree or, family for one thing or the other. Like you honestly can have both. Let's draw some clarifiers here. And then actually, before I move on, we have the Knight of Wands, and actually this, like mentally this, so you're actually aligned, mentally and emotionally. And you know, you're moving very quickly, you're very excited, lots of action this month. Lots of action. So let's get some clarifiers. I have the World. So this thing that happens to you at the end of February is divine. It is important. Don't overlook it. Pay attention. These are important lessons that you are going to be discovering, either happening to you externally or you're experiencing internally, but they're crucial to you being able to move on to the next cycle of blessings and prosperity. Okay. I have the Page of Swords with the Queen of Swords. So we've got some either air sign women getting a mother-child relationship here. Perhaps you're working with your mom, or there's a kid that you're involved with, and you know, maybe it's like a brother or a sister or something like that. But I have a nurturing. The Queen of Swords is a badass, cold, no BS kind of energy, but it's also feminine, right? Given that it's a queen. Swords energy is masculine, which is why it's cold, and I say that with parentheses, so, or quotes. So with that being clarified by the Page of Swords, it's almost like this duality, I want to say, where we are this queen, but then it goes to the page. It's almost like you're convincing yourself of something. Maybe you feel this thing coming and you maybe think that you're not ready for it. Let me get another clarifier. So I have the Page of Wands. Okay, so maybe kids. Maybe kids is a big thing here, week 3. Or younger people, people that are less experienced than you. Babysitting, nannying, maybe it's got something to do with your job. And so this is like what you're handling this business. So you got 2 kids and then you're handling the business. Or your mom's handling you. Did you do something you weren't supposed to, Libra? JK. I got spanked when I was a kid, so like I joke about it, but it's really not that funny. Like, I mean, I got hit with a belt is what I mean. Oh god. Okay, so as a clarifier to the Hermit and the World, I have the 6 of Coins. So this is really nice. We're working hard. We're getting there. It's almost like I'm seeing the train when it leaves the station, and it's like going faster and faster and faster and getting that momentum. That's what I'm sensing here for week 4. Week 4 in the month of February. Let's get a clarifier. We've got the 5 of Cups and the Knight of Wands. So again, you can have your cake and eat it too. I'm going to title this video those exact words, Libra, because this guy's crying over spilt milk, but there's so much action happening and we're so successful and we're moving forward. But then emotionally, we're just like, well, I need to learn how to balance, and then creating the situations that may not even be real. Like, you don't need this because you've got the World, and then you've got the Queen of Swords, you have the 10 of Cups, the King of Wands. There's nothing negative here. I completely made a mess of this spread. We're gonna wrap that up, okay? Enough said. We're gonna hop over to Romance Angels. I got very excited. We have, this could be the one. You've already met the romantic partner you seek. Okay, so I'm kind of switching gears here. If you are in a relationship or if you are not in a relationship, this can apply to you. In the different spreads that we do, sometimes, you know, just because there's so many different placements and outcomes and potentials, you know, there may not be particular messages that come up. So that's why I do the 3 different ones. And then one specifically for like romance. Okay. Make the effort. It's funny that I sighed so deep because this card says great love is worth taking the steps you're guided to take. So it requires effort. It is okay to move forward. This person definitely seems that you're dealing with, definitely seems like they're going to be here for a while. I don't know so much about like twin flame and soulmate and all that stuff. Anybody that you meet at any given time is the one, because there's lessons that you need to learn from them potentially. And that being said, past life relationship, I am channeling. Okay, so I'm getting here that there is this person that may feel karmic for you. Maybe it's not the smoothest relationship, but there's this deep connection that you perhaps cannot explain, or you know that perhaps in a past life, there was something there. There's a familiarity, right? But because it's a little bit bumpy that you have going on with this person, you need to know that you can make the effort. You should make the effort. There is perhaps a karmic cycle that you're completing here. It may be with a Virgo or Earth sign that we talked about a little bit earlier, perhaps someone that's more introverted, which will be very interesting. I definitely want to hear how that goes. But the main thing here is make the effort. Like, look at how cute this is. Look. And then look, very similar to this, this is someone that you've known before. Here's the other one, but it's not like matching the way that these two are. So we've got kids, and then we have two adults doing the exact same thing. The guy's kissing looks like the little boy's kissing the little girl, and then the man's kissing the woman here. So, I would probably suggest like go with it, like Piscean energy during this season. It's very much like a go with the flow kind of thing. It's also a mutable sign, or a mutable energy. So, go with how you feel, make an effort. There's a reason that this person is in your life. If they are meant to teach you something, understand what that lesson is and really try to make an effort to learn it. If it's someone that you have separated with, make an effort to move on, right? This could be the one. If you have nobody in your life and you're listening to this segment, there may be someone that's there already and you don't see them, or you need to know that you are the romantic partner you seek. You can only love someone as deeply as you can love yourself. And if it's not very far, you may not have, the ideal relationship. So always work on yourself first before you try and look for someone else. That is your reading for February. The title, I can't wait to post. I would love to know what you guys think. Definitely remember, like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll see you guys in a few weeks for March.